do my Devar Torah first.
Do it. I'll sit.
And then... Friends, I would like to welcome you and just remind everyone, I've been asked to remind everyone, please to make sure that your cell phones are in the power off position. And also, there are the Yizkor books in front of you at your place that you're welcome to take with you. And just to alert you, in addition to the names that were listed that people sent in their names, there's a section at the beginning that we prepared especially for all of you, and you can take it home with you, of many different prayers and poems and liturgy that might enhance your prayers, your memorial prayers, for you to take with you and have. And at a point in our service, when we have the Yizkor prayer, the silent prayer, there are readings beginning on page 8 through page 11 of all various different relationships and connections that we have, that if we want our memorial prayers to be more specific to those relationships, they are there for us as well. Friends, the Torah teaches us that there was a protective cloud that accompanied the Israelites during their 40-year journey from Egypt to the Promised Land. We're told that this cloud gave the sign when it was time for the Israelites to go forth from one place to the other, to move to the next step in their journey. And the cloud symbolized that the name of Adonai, the name of God, could be seen within the cloud. I've always found this to be a very beautiful and striking metaphor, as the cloud in the Torah symbolizes God's protective care and guidance as we all journey forth in life. Often we know not where our journey will take us, what lies ahead, what challenges we will face along the way. But the cloud that accompanied the Israelites provided a sense of comfort, support, and assurance that they were never alone on their journey. No matter what befalls them, God's presence is always with them. In today's world, so often when we speak of a cloud, we speak of having a cloud over our lives. And always it seems to be in a negative way. We speak of a cloud of bad luck, or a cloud over us that seems to bring pain and struggle in an excessive way. We have all known those who have had to endure so much unfairness in life, as life is hard and challenging, that typically it might be referred to as a cloud over our lives. But in our Jewish tradition and in the Torah, we see this in a different perspective. Quite the opposite. The cloud is a sign of divine protection and a blessing as it was for our ancient ancestors. Truth be told, we all need a protective cloud as we face the harsh realities and the ordeals life throws our way. In today's world, these clouds might not be something that we see each day when we look up to the sky, but metaphorically, these clouds are the people who grace our lives and who help us as we struggle with the vicissitudes that we encounter on our journey in life. These clouds are indeed our family, our friends, our community that are here to support, nurture, and protect us when we feel alone in the storm. In fact, one of my professors in rabbinical school once taught us that the purpose of prayer is not so much to ask for what we lack, as it is to call us to notice those blessings that are part of our everyday life. In other words, our faith helps us appreciate the clouds that surround us, that enable us to sustain our balance and cope with all that we must face. We need not ever be alone. As I look around the room today, I cannot help but think that we are all drawn here together today during this most sacred day of Yom Kippur, during this hour of remembrance. But none of us here are alone. We are not only bound by the community of which we are a part, but we are here together today because of another bond we all share. And it is not a bond we prefer to share, but nevertheless, we are all here because of a particular loss that we have experienced in our lives. For some, I know the wound is still raw because the loss is still recent. We are still mourning, and the holiday season only exacerbates our sorrow. For some, the loss is not as recent, and the wound is not as raw, but still we are flooded with emotions as the season only reinforces the keen absence felt in our lives. Our being here today as a special part of this community allows us the opportunity to share that grief, to not be alone in our sorrow. In Judaism, you know, we never say Kaddish alone. In Judaism, in order to recite those sacred words, we need a community. We need 10 people. Our community then becomes that cloud that envelops us and helps us to stand strong amidst the heartbreaks of our loss. All of us here today know well that it is often difficult to find comfort when our hearts are broken. We all know that people try their best and want to say the right thing or to do the right thing, but we all know too well that words are often meaningless when we are deep in that valley of the shadows. Whatever cliches people offer, we smile politely, but draw little solace. 16 years ago, after tragically losing my wife at the age of 52, I was given a copy of Sheryl Sandberg's book, Option B, which offers powerful and insightful advice as to how best provide comfort and support to those around us going through a tragic loss. After many years in the rabbinate, and having had to provide grief counseling and support to so many families in my community, my congregation, having experienced that tragedy myself, and then reading Sandberg's book only reinforced my understanding how Judaism can guide us in supporting those around us as they experience heartbreak as we have. So then, what can provide some small measure of comfort when our hearts are heavy within us? What can help? I'm reminded of a beautiful and poignant midrash about a revered and respected Rebbe who suffered a horrific tragedy in his family. The great Rebbe was bereft and inconsolable. He was distraught and brokenhearted, and his disciples worried about his well-being. One particularly brilliant student offered to go see the Rebbe and share with him comforting words of Torah. He spoke to the Rebbe of how Abraham dealt with the loss of Sarah, how Jacob mourned the loss of Rachel, how Aaron was silently stoic after the tragic death of his 2 sons. But none of these references brought any comfort to the Rebbe. Another student offered to go visit his beloved teacher. This particular disciple had a golden voice. He met with the Rebbe and beautifully chanted some of the most poignant psalms in order to offer solace through his music. This, too, provided no comfort to the Rebbe. Still his heart ached. Still he remained desolate. After all the students tried to no avail, finally the youngest of the Rebbe's many disciples, the newest to the class, and one who was not the most promising of intellects, but who nevertheless had a kind heart, offered to visit the Rebbe. His classmates chastised him. They said, "What could you possibly say? What teaching could you possibly offer to the Rebbe that we have not already tried?" The young student went into the Rebbe's chambers, quietly walked right up to his revered teacher, and he said nothing. All he did was put out his arms and gave the great Rebbe a loving embrace, a hug. That hug provided comfort to the Rebbe, who then emerged to continue on in his life and toward the path to heal his heart. All we really ever need is a hug. When our hearts are broken, words, music, rationalizations, and cliches are well-intentioned and well-meaning. But all we really need is a hug. In fact, Rabbi Isaac Luria, the founder of the mystical movement of Kabbalah, teaches that nothing is more powerful than the healing embrace of a hug. Rabbi Luria tells us that when you embrace another person and make that close physical contact, allowing that person to enter your space and envelop you with their care and concern, that simple hug has a profound effect and a healing power. And in turn, when a person hugs another, literally, they have their back. For a person can never fall while in the embrace of a solid hug. Each hug then becomes a manifestation of the cloud that is always there to protect us in life. In the section of our prayer book that immediately precedes the Kaddish prayer, there is a poignant meditation that echoes this sentiment and provides great insight. When the prayer tells us grief is a great teacher, when it sends us back to serve and bless the living, we learn how to counsel and comfort those who, like ourselves, are bowed with sorrow. We learn when to keep silence in their presence and when a word will assure them of our love and concern. Judaism teaches us that through our grief, through our losses, we can better provide comfort to those who are despondent and brokenhearted. We can be, as one philosopher described, as a wounded healer. We can sanctify our grief by being more understanding of what others are going through and what might help the most. And truth be told, all we really need is a hug. So, my friends, before we begin our Yizkor memorial prayers, as our hearts are heavy within us, let us all take a moment. Let us stand up, turn to those around you, whether familiar or not, and give them a hug. Let all of us be the cloud that can protect each other through a simple embrace. They're doing it. page 477. Page 477 as we begin our Yizkor memorial service, and you may be seated. The bottom of page 478. O God, you are my God. At first light I seek you. So do I look for you in the sanctuary, to behold your power and your glory. Your love is better than life. My lips will extol you.
And I will praise you with my life, for you have been my help. In the shadows of your wings I sing for joy.
And we continue together at the bottom of page 480. O God, what are we that you have regard for us? What are we that you are mindful of us? We are like a breath, our days are as a passing shadow. We come and go like grass, which in the morning shoots up, renewed, and in the evening fades and withers. You cause us to revert to dust, saying, Return, O mortal creatures. Would that we were wise, that we understood whither we are going. For when we die, we carry nothing away. Our glory does not accompany us. Mark the wholehearted and behold the upright. They shall have peace. You redeem the soul of your servants, O God, and none who trust in you. We are strangers in your sight, O God. Like all who claim before us, our days on earth vanish like shadows. But the speedy flight of life, the grave that looms on the horizon, should not dismay us. Rather, let them teach us wisdom and prompt us to put our trust in you. For only the dust returns to the dust. The spirit which you have breathed into us returns to you, its everlasting source. Into us you have placed a portion of your divinity. Your mighty strength is our firm support. When we become servants of your law, witnesses to your truth, champions of your dominion, then indeed do we endow our fleeting days with abiding worth.
We are children of God, give us strength and understanding that we may fill our days with good. Though our days are few, help us to make them great. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light. Long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us as we live our days. These are the ways we remember.
We remember
As we live our days,
these are the ways we remember. We remember.
יש כוכבים שאורם מגיע ארצה, רק כאשר הם עצמם
as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. We remember. We remember. We remember. Those were words written by the great Jewish partisan Hannah Senesh and put to beautiful music by cantor Jeffrey Klepper. Eternal God, you have been our refuge in all generations. For 1,000 years in your sight are but as yesterday when it is past, or a watch in the night.
You sweep us away, our light like daybreak. We come and go like grass as in the morning shoots up in you, and in the evening fades and withers.
The number of our years may be many or few, yet vain toil fills their span, for it is soon ended, and we fly away. So teach us to number our days, that we may grow wise in heart.
Let your servants understand your ways, and your children see your glory.
Let the beauty of our eternal God be with us, and may our work have lasting value.
Oh, let the work of our hands be enduring.
O God, author of life and death, our wisdom is small, our vision short. One by one, our companions, passing along the road of life, disappear from our view. We know that each must walk the same path to the doorway of the grave. We strain to see what lies beyond the gate, but all is darkness to our mortal sight.
Yet even the darkness is not too dark for you, O God, but the night shines as the day.
You have created us in your image and made us share in your enduring righteousness. You have put eternity into our hearts, have implanted within us a vision of life everlasting. This hope we cherish in humility and faith, trusting in your endless goodness and your wondrous love.
Into your hands we commit the spirits of our dear ones, for you keep faith with your children in death as in life.
And sustain us, O God, that we may meet with calm serenity the dark mysteries that lie ahead, knowing that when we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you are with us, a loving friend in whom we put our trust. You are the light of our life, our hope in eternity. Together, I lift up my eyes to the mountains.
What is the source of my help? My help will come from the eternal, maker of heaven and earth. God, when all God will put to sleep, your guardian is not slumber. Behold, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. The eternal is your keeper. The eternal is your shade at your right hand. The sun shall not harm by day, nor the moon by night. The eternal will guard you from all evil. God will protect your being. The eternal will guard you coming and going, from this time forth and forever.
If some messenger were to come to us with the offer that death should be overthrown, but with the one inseparable condition that birth should also cease, if the existing generation were given the chance to live forever, but on the clear understanding that never again would there be a child or a youth or first love, never again new persons with new hopes, new ideas, new achievements, ourselves for always and never any others, could the answer be in doubt? Alas, for those who cannot sing, but die with all their music in them. Let us treasure the time we have and resolve to use it well, counting each moment precious, a chance to apprehend some truth, to experience some beauty, to conquer over evil, to relieve some suffering, to love and to be loved, to achieve something of lasting value.
Help us then to fulfill the promise that is in each of us, and so to conduct ourselves that, generations hence, it will be true to say of us, the world is better because for a brief space they lived in it.
All things pass away, but you are eternal. Teach us, O God, to see that when we link ourselves to you and strive to do your will, our lives acquire eternal meaning and value. And sustain us in the hope, for we dare not ask for more, that the human spirit created in your image is like you, eternal.
The dust returns to the earth as it was, but the spirit returns to the God who gave it.
In you do I seek refuge. Let me never be put to shame.
Make me to honor the end, the measure of my days. Help me to realize how fleeting is my life.
You have made my days a mere span. My life's duration is nothing before you. Those who stand firm are but a breath of wind.
They move about like shadows, they skirt the air like passing breeze. They become riches, not knowing who will inherit them.
What hope have I then, O God? My trust is in you.
My flesh may fail and my heart, but God is forever the strength of my heart and my life's destination.
I dwell in the shelter of the Most High. I abide in the shadow of the Almighty.
And I say to the Eternal One, you are my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Shiviti Adonai, lenegdi tamid, ki bibini ba emod. Lachen samach libi, ויגל גבודי, אף בשור ישכון לבטח. כי לא תעזוב נפשי לשאול, לא תיתן חסדך לראות שחט. תודיעני אורח חיים, אורח חיים. שובע שמחות את פניך, נמות במין הנצח. שיביתי אדוני לנגדי תמיד, כי ממני בא
We continue responsively at the top of page 487. Let us call to mind the great and good, through whom the Eternal has done wonders.
They were leaders of the people, helping many with understanding and insight.
Wise and eloquent in their teachings, they were just and loving in their deeds.
All these were honored in their generations. They were the glory of their times.
There are some who have left a name behind them, whose remembrance is as honey in the mouth.
People will declare their wisdom. All will tell of their goodness.
And there are some who have left no memorial, whose names have vanished as though they had never been.
But the goodness of their lives has not been lost, and their work cannot be blotted out.
We continue together in the middle of page 488. Author of life, bless the memories we cherish on this day that, more than any other, affords us glimpses of eternity. May the sorrows we have known be softened by our sense of your infinite wisdom, your unending love, your eternal presence. May the pains of past bereavements grow more gentle. Indeed, let them be transformed into gratitude to our dear ones who have died, and tenderness to those who are still with us.
Adonai Roi lo echsar bino sheyar bitzeni al mei menuchot al mei menuchot
Together we join in the comforting and familiar words of the 23rd Psalm. Eternal God, you are my shepherd, I shall not want. You make me lie down in green pastures. You lead me beside still waters. You restore my soul. You lead me in right paths for the sake of your name. Even when I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. With rod and staff you comfort me. You have set a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house. Giver of life, our times are in your hand. One generation comes into the world to be blessed with days of peace and safety. Another goes through the valley of the shadow, enduring the cruelties of persecution and war. Heartbreaking have been the times that have fallen to our lot, O God. We have lived through years of tyranny and destruction. We are schooled in sorrow and acquainted with grief. We have seen the just defeated, the innocent driven from their homes, and the righteous suffer a martyrdom as merciless as any ages have witnessed. At this hour of memorial, we recall with grief all your children who have perished through the cruelty of the oppressor, victims of demonic hate, the aged and the young, the learned and unlettered, all driven in multitudes along the road of pain and pitiless death. Their very presence on earth was begrudged them, for they brought your covenant of mercy and justice to the recollection of your enemies. They perished because they were a symbol of your eternal law. Their death has brought darkness to the human soul. They lie in nameless graves, in far-off forests and lonely fields, and the substance of many was scattered by the winds to the earth's four corners. Yet they shall not be forgotten. We take them into our hearts and give them a place beside the cherished memories of our own loved ones. They now are ours. And we remember with sorrow those whom death has taken from our midst during this past year. And I invite any of you who wish at this time, as we recognize and acknowledge by name those who lost their lives since last Yom Kippur, that we observe Yizkor this year, or any individuals whose yahrzeit, their anniversary of their death, happens to fall on this day, please feel free to honor their memory by standing and sharing their names with us. Those who died during this past year since last Yom Kippur, and those whose yahrzeit is observed on this very day.
Shirley Kuyat.
Of course, we also acknowledge those who lost their lives during this past year because they were hostages, taken hostage, or lost their lives in defending Israel. Zichronam livracha, may their memories forever be a blessing. And taking these dear ones into our hearts with all our beloved, we recall them now with reverence. For in the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember them. In the opening buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember them. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them.
וימליך מלכותי בחיי חון ויום אחד ובחיי דכל בית ישראל כי אתה עמדי for you are here with me כי אתה עמדי for you are here with me like the waves upon the sea are separate and connected. You are gone, but still by my side. As the seasons must change, to dust we must return again. But love, love, love never dies. For you are here with me. Ki ata imadi. For you are here with me.
We continue now with our silent Yizkor meditation. And for those who wish to go beyond the words of the prayer book, I direct you, beginning on page 8 through page 11 in the booklets, for any other particular prayers, Yizkor prayers, you wish to recite to yourself. We pray silently. Turning now to page 492, we rise for the memorial prayer.
תחת כנפי השכינה, עם קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע, מזהירים לנשמות יקירינו שהלכו לעולמם. בעל הרחמים יסתירם בסתר כנפיו לעולמים, ויתרור החיים את נשמתם. אדוני הוא נחלתם, וינוחו בשלום משכבם, ונאמר
Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach erutei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayedechol beit Yisrael, v'galau v'zman kariv v'imru omein. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'l'olmei olmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitomam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudsha barichu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, damiran bi'alma v'imru omein. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru omein. Oseh shalom b'mroma, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru omein. And may the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort to all who are bereaved, as we say together. Amen. Friends, our concluding service begins at 4:30, Ne'ilah, followed by Havdalah and the sounding of the shofar, and we certainly invite and look forward to you joining us at that time. Gamar Chatima Tova. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, it's tough. I think my microphone was off for like the entirety of that service.
No, I don't think so.